Well, hello everyone, and welcome to FNL Gridiron. Nick and Astor, Steve Beals with you here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. We're presented by Beals Insurance. Had to iron out a few technical difficulties, but typically we're on at a new time this season. Every Thursday, 5:30 live. That's a great way to set the table for the upcoming weekend of high school football. Week 1 is here. Tomorrow night we are on the Seacoast, Dover at Portsmouth. We're going to chat with Dover head coach Eric Kumba in just a few minutes. We've also got Roger Brown in the on-deck circle. Roger, of course, the founder of NH Football Report. Steve, another season. Ready to rumble, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing well, Nick. Looking forward to a great season. I wait for this, as you know, from pretty much Thanksgiving championship game. Give me a week or two, a day after Christmas, I'm ready to go again. But yeah, I'm ready. Looking forward to hear Roger's overview. We had a great interview with him at the Jamboree, as well as just a great job by Ryan putting that thing together, dealing with a few issues with weather. Went off pretty well, amazingly well, and credit goes out to Ryan Ray, head coach of Central, and all the other people that work with him to put that on. We really appreciate it, and I know thousands and thousands and thousands of people have already watched it, but if you kind of want to get a good view of some other teams, by all means, go to it. Nick, if I bear with me just being long here, I also wanted to mention you're going to see in our commercial break some new people that have come in. Jewett Construction Incorporated, MG Sports Fundraising, not new by any means. He's been with us, and we so much appreciate the work that he does. But Jewett Construction is new with us. Accurate Tree Service can speak for personal experience. Incredible work that they do. They did some work for me in Bedford, and then absolutely awesome to have TKQB Academy. Just the work that Trevor Knight has done with quarterbacks in this league is so obvious since he started this academy, and the performance that these young people have done. So, as they go through his tutelage, but just the work you put in, Nick, of getting these people going, we all appreciate here at Friday Night Lights, and we so appreciate them. Look forward to a good, healthy, long partnership. And if you have any need of these services, by all means, use these people because they've really stepped up big time for us, and we all here greatly appreciate it. So just want to get that in there.
Absolutely. Well said. Everybody excited about the new corporate partners that we have on board for the fall, and we are looking forward for sure to working with them. All right, Steve, before we get to Roger, I'm just going to run down the week 1 schedule really quickly, and you let me know what jumps off the page. Again, we'll be at Portsmouth tomorrow night. It's a 7 o'clock kick, a 6:45 pregame. Dover at Portsmouth, our first Friday Night Lights New Hampshire game of the week. It begins at 7 o'clock. Also at 7, Timberlane at Exeter. Memorial is taking on an out-of-state opponent, Central Providence. That's a brewing rivalry. Those teams have gotten together each of the last few seasons. Another chapter in the works tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Manchester Memorial down in Rhode Island to take on Central Providence. Spalding is at Winnicott. Londonderry at Alvern, a juicy Central matchup in Division 1. The aforementioned Manchester Central Little Green, coached by Ryan Ray, they're taking on Nashua North in the Gate City. That's an early 6:30 kick. Wyndham at Pinkerton. That's a playoff rematch. The champs open up at home. That's a 7 o'clock start. Salem is in the capital city of Concord, also for a 7 o'clock kick. Bedford and Merrimack, a rivalry there between two neighboring towns. Bedford at Merrimack at 6:30. Bishop Girton, out-of-state opponent. They're at Packfinder Vocational Tech. Packfinder Vocational Tech, the opponent for BG. 7 o'clock to kick there. Goffstown is at Keene out west, 6:30. And Nashua South going to challenge themselves at Malden Catholic at 6 o'clock. In Division 2, Bow is at Pelham. Kennett at Conval, both 7 o'clock starts. Also at 7, Kingswood playing host to Hollis Brookline. John Stark is at Merrimack Valley to 6:30 kick. Manchester West plays host to Pembroke. Those two teams participated in the Queen City Jamboree. Blue Knights will host Pembroke at 7 o'clock. Also at 7, Milford taking on Plymouth in Milford. Sauhegan, the defending champs in D2, they're on the road at St. Thomas at 7. And finally, we also have Hanover at Trinity, also a 7 o'clock start. No Saturday games in week number 1. A bit of an anomaly, certainly a noteworthy thing to mention. So only one broadcast this week for us. It's tomorrow night, Division 1, Dover at Portsmouth. But besides that, Steve, what else jumps off the chart there in terms of week 1 matchups in either division?
Well, again, we've always been very supportive when Timberlane Owls, get that game against Exeter is going to be a benchmark to me to see where Timberlane is this year. Obviously, very well coached. It's really going to be about the personnel they have. Same situation with Exeter. That game, I'm interested to see how good Exeter is and how strong, what type of a season. You never can do that just in the first game. But where are the Timberlane Owls at this point? The game that really sticks out to me, Justin Huff coming on over to Alverin. This absolutely two Titan coaches, as far as I'm concerned, as cerebral as you get in Division I football across the state. Those two coaches, and Jimmy Lozon and Justin Huff. I'm very interested to see where Alverin and Londonderry are this year. As we know, we found the Jamboree. Londonderry lost a couple of players. But Coach Lozon has got a deep program over there. I'd be very interested to see how they are. The other one, other than Exeter and Timberlane I talked about, is they're going to be facing Malden Catholic, Nashua South. We hear so much chatter about Nashua South this year. Really want to see how strong they're going to be. We could clearly see Pinkerton and Bedford are strong programs, as well as others that we know. But it's been talked about probably for 3 or 4 months now about how strong Nashua South looks all the way back to 7-7 right on. So I'm very interested in that game. I'm interested in all of them, Nick. In Division II, kind of a Nashua South story, but in a D2 format. I'm looking to see where St. Thomas is. I hear a lot of really good things about St. Thomas. Clearly, we know that Plymouth will be strong. Bo, I heard, has got a good program this year. So Hegan, nothing you have to say about that program. Everybody knows where they're going to be. Extremely good program. But does St. Thomas, or maybe some other team in Division II, other than the others that I mentioned, step up into the fold and establish some front running status there? So that'll be interesting as well. But if I had to choose one game, I'm excited about Dover, obviously Dover and Portsmouth, two great programs, two great coaches, but we're going there. So we're going to find out there. Very interested. If I had to really look at the other one, it is where Londonderry and Alverin stand and how Justin Huff is just a wizard, and he's got some good assistant coaches, as we know. So sorry about the long answer. There's a lot of teams you talked about there. And if I left somebody out, don't think I'm not interested, because I am. I like to see them all. We look for the end of the third week stratification. We talk about that on FNL Gridiron all the time, Nick. So that's kind of on the front end of things where I'm looking at. I'll be waiting for you to tell me the score. I might even be sneaking in on a few of those, and certainly at the front end of that, it'll be Londonderry Alverin.
All right, we're going to take our first break right now. Then we're going to bring back Roger Brown, and we're going to get his thoughts on week number 1. Roger, of course, the founder of the NH Football Report. You are watching FNL Gridiron here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. We're presented by Beals Insurance.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Maybe it's leaning too close to your home. Maybe it's not healthy. Or maybe you just don't like it there. No matter what the reason is, if you need tree work or pruning, call Accurate Tree Service. They have the right equipment and expertise to properly diagnose, treat, or remove trees, no matter how difficult the terrain. Perhaps simple, careful pruning by our certified arborist is all you need to manage your trees and shrubs. When it comes to your tree care, contact the full-service tree care experts today, Accurate Tree Service, because you only get one chance to take a tree down right.
Are you a quarterback who is ready to take your game to the next level? Well, then it's time to join TKQB Academy. Founded by former UNH standout Trevor Knight, TKQB Academy has worked with student athletes from around New England, helping young quarterbacks to reach their full potential. TKQB Academy offers one-on-one and group sessions that will help you instantly improve your accuracy, timing, mechanics, and footwork. So be the best QB you can be at TKQB Academy. Call 603-732-7194 or reach out on Instagram at TKQBA. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include discount tickets, cards, and calendar raffles to hundreds of local merchants throughout the New England area. Don't waste another season. Raise more funds than ever before and become another football program in New Hampshire that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Pitches it to Shenna, gets the corner.
Well, we're back
I thought
here
that was
on
a new
FNL
video.
Gridiron. Got a little tease there, I guess.
Got a little tease, Nick.
Nick and Ask This Steve Beals with you. A reminder, we're on the air tomorrow night, week number 1, our kickoff for this upcoming 2025 season. Dover at Portsmouth, first up on the docket in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week, presented by Beals Insurance. We'll be on the air at about 6:45 ahead of that 7 o'clock kick. We've got Green Wave head coach Eric Kumba waiting in the wings in a few minutes. We'll preview that game with him. But first, our first guest of the season. Appropriately enough, it's Roger Brown, the founder of the NH Football Report, nhfootballreport.com. Roger, thank you for bearing with us. We had some technical difficulties earlier, but those are in the rearview mirror. How are you, Roger?
I'm well. Don't worry about it, Nick. I have technical difficulties every day in some form or fashion, so not a big deal. Happy to be with you.
Yeah, glad to have you. We're going to jump right into this, Roger. We're going to preview Dover and Portsmouth with Coach Kumba here coming up. But what of the other Division I games would you like to start with?
I think you guys got a good one. That one's the most intriguing to me. I think it's going to be a real competitive game, from what I know of both teams, but there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered. So there's that game. And then the other one that stands out to me is Wyndham Pinkerton. Matt Lee, of course, moving from Malvern to be Wyndham's head coach. Wyndham has traditionally played Pinkerton tough, even when they were separated, by quite a bit in the standings. And obviously Pinkerton is going to be very, very strong. One of the favorites, if not the favorite in Division I. So those are the two that kind of stand out to me on this first weekend. You never know, but it's not in terms of competitive matchups, it doesn't look like it's a great weekend. But again, you just don't know, how strong teams are. It's all based on what you think might, unfold. But those are the two, at least in Division I, that popped out at me when I looked at the schedule.
Yeah, you mentioned Wyndham at Pinkerton. That's a rematch of last year's quarterfinal. That game was close. The Astros obviously prevailed in the end on their way to a state championship. And we got a little bit of a tease of Pinkerton last week at the Jamboree, but not by any means the full-fledged operation under Coach O'Reilly. We only saw a series or two from their starting quarterback, McDonald, before the rain really started coming down, and some of the starters sat the rest of the way in that scrimmage against Bedford. But how dynamic can Pinkerton be without Matt Morrison, who was their star running back last year, lost to graduation?
I think they're going to be very dynamic. They had a couple of running backs last year that filled in not just for a game or two, but for quite a stretch. Because Jamie Isaac was hurt as well, one of Pinkerton's other better offensive players last year. And of course, they've got a couple of transfers who came in. At least one of whom I know is a running back, very good running back. So I think they're going to be fine in the backfield. And you saw Aiden McDonald last year; he threw quite a bit, especially for what Pinkerton normally does through the air. You got to expect him to be even better this year. So I would expect their offense to be just as good. You can't replace Morrison's speed, but they certainly have plenty of dynamic weapons on that side of the ball to find the end zone. So I wouldn't expect the overall production to drop much, if at all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Roger, we're a little behind schedule. We got about 5 minutes left with you, so I'm going to turn this right over to Steve here for the rest of the interview. Steve?
Yeah. Steve, let me just jump in real quick. I think it's important. I don't know if I didn't find out about this until the Jamboree, but Chris Sanborn up in Plymouth is going through a difficult family situation right now, I guess is the best way to put it. I really don't feel comfortable saying more than that, but I think it's just, I've got a lot of texts and stuff asking about him, but just maybe keep Chris in your thoughts. Tom Lamb will be taking over, I believe, the Plymouth program, at least in the short term. So
certainly pray for the best outcome there.
Yeah, right. So
awful good person, great coach,
terrific, the best,
great guy. Wish him whatever that is.
I just thought it was important to mention. So fire away with anything else you got.
Yeah, I'll try to shift from that. I guess I would start off with the combination of Bennett Matthews and Brody Helton. I would say both. I would say that Bennett Matthews looks like a guy who's, to me the other night, that just started quarterback again. Not that he wasn't a quarterback, but he just got stronger and stronger during the game, Roger. I looked at some of the lateral movement in the pocket. I'd say he's about 40% of what his ceiling is going to be, and his 40% looked terrible. That isn't saying 40% from a negative. I'm just saying with the tools that this guy's got between firing a couple of those footballs, what are your thoughts about where he's at right now, what you saw? I know it's only a quarter, but it's still seeing some reps. And then the speed and the strength and the power of Brody Helton compared to last year, who was fantastic. But boy, to me, he was the Matt Morrison of this year out of the Jamboree last year.
Yeah, I got to see Bedford in their first scrimmage against Winnicott. You don't have to see a lot of Bennett to realize what a terrific athlete he is. And that 1-2 punch in the running game is going to be brutal to stop. I got to see him throw quite a few balls. He's a terrific passer. If they can find some receivers, that's going to be a nightmarish matchup for any defense if they can throw it as well. But they may not even have to with those two back there because, I think as we mentioned in the Jamboree, Brody, very athletic. He's shifty, got good enough speed, but he's a battering ram too. He's punishes you when you tackle him. He's the kind of back. Well, I like him, but who wouldn't like him, right? I mean, he's got so much for him there. Those two are going to put up a lot of points this year, no question. That's going to be that 1-2 punch is as good as any as I can recall in terms of the running game at the high school level here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off talking about teams that I haven't seen yet. So I'm going to focus on the Jamboree. That's why I really appreciate Ryan doing that. Enjoyed you having us with us at halftime there, Roger. What about the next I want to talk about is BG, the Bowen to Bowen connection. BG kind of really needs that. In order for them to run the ball, they kind of run out of the pass, so to speak. If they can stretch the field, that's when Coach Nolan really gets his running game going, as opposed to other teams that do the opposite of that. What was your impression of the Bowen and Bowen connection? To me, it looked mid-season form from what I saw.
Well, I know Nate's a terrific passer. I've seen enough of him, and he was young last year, and he's, I got to assume he's going to get better. Just BG in general, they had some players that I just wasn't aware of, I guess, that really caught my eye, and it got me trying to figure out who these guys were, and they're on my list of teams. Like, I don't want to say they're in that upper tier, but they could get there, I think, from what little I saw. They're a team that, I'm put them on the watch list, so to speak. I really intrigued by them, like an Exeter too. I put them there as well. They're going to be good, but how good? And BG looked, my first impression, I was very impressed. Better than I thought they were going to be in what little I saw in the Jamboree.
Defense also, Roger. To me, they looked like they had a lot of defensive speed and just really flow into the ball extremely well. Looked like defensively they're extremely well coached because they were reading their keys and reacting. To me, further along than the end of August. To me, what were your thoughts on their defense?
I thought their defensive line looked very athletic. Excuse me. They had some big guys. Guys that could move, like you said, and probably run. You might have been talking about their linebackers and their on the back end, but I thought their D line. A couple of years ago, they had some of those similar type kids that could really get after it up front, and they were very difficult to deal with as a defense. So. Just, good-looking football bodies that could move. The very athletic team, I thought. And, back to your original question, they're going to be able to throw it. They're on. They're one of the teams that I'm most intrigued with in Division I. I want to get to see them early in the season if I can.
Another thing that stuck out, obviously, Pembroke Academy looked young. They looked like they were struggling out there a little bit. But how much of that was this running attack and this young quarterback that kind of came in and filled? Manny kind of filled in there. I don't know if it was the competition they were facing or a combination of both, or do they have an offensive attack that could surprise some teams? What are your thoughts there?
Who are we talking about now, Steve?
Central. Yeah.
I didn't get to
see team.
I didn't get to see Central. I left early in that matchup, so I didn't get to. I'm not give you a good comment on that one. I just know the Central quarterback. Everybody raves about him, even though he's young. All
right, we're back here for our final segment. Our apologies again. We're working out some kinks here, some unexpected technical difficulties for our week 1 show, but we promise we'll be back next week with a full slate of guests and hopefully error-free from a technical perspective as well. Nick and Ask this, Steve Beals here with you. It's Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire's FNL Gridiron. We're presented by Beals Insurance, and we're live every Thursday at 5:30. Knock on wood. Steve, tomorrow we are at Portsmouth as Dover and Portsmouth take center stage in week number 1. That, of course, is one of those conference rivalry games where you can throw the records out the window. Obviously, week 1 here, records don't apply, but nonetheless, there may or may not be a favorite on paper. None of that matters for the full 60 minutes once we kick off. So what do you expect tomorrow night between Dover and Portsmouth?
Well, if we're going to have technical difficulties, this is the show to do it. I really would love to, not talking about Coach Coomber and our guests, I really love to have been able to talk to Coach Coomber about his team. We're going to find out Friday night just the same. But having said that, if we're going to have technical difficulties, I want it because this week for me, Nick, is really tough. We don't know anybody. I mean, it's not like you've got a preseason and all that like you do in college and certainly in the professional ranks. But this week somebody's going to stand out. We're going to be able to analyze plays. We're going to see who's got a strong defense. I think in the beginning of the year, a strong defense is it's always important, but especially important because what happens is that's what gives your offense the amount of opportunities to get plenty of reps. So to me, I'm interested in the quarterbacks. Coach Kumba is definitely very much an offensive guy. He's a play caller, looking to see what he's got as far as weapons. Coach Kumba likes to spread the field, likes to pass, and then kind of a approach of following up with a run. Does a good job as far as down and distance calls and things of that nature. So I'm interested to see where he has his group at this point. And Coach Pafford is really, when you think of him, you just think of a guy, the energy that he brings out on the field. Where is his team as far as that physicality that his teams we've seen, Nick, for years have had? A lot of that is a reflection of he and his coaching staff and the way that he coaches. He has high expectations for high energy, a lot of hitting, coming after the ball, aggressive play on both sides. But he's got to have the goods in order for Coach Pafford's skills to be able to get. It's got to be happen out in the field and to see if he's got those players ready with that type of energy. At the end, this is kind of like on the eastern side. This is kind of like Winnicott and Exeter, Dover, Portsmouth. There's just those rivalries, Nick, as you said, and I agree with Roger. This is a game. There were other games we could have done, but these two teams, the way that they play when they play against each other, makes a lot of sense that we start out there. So I'm looking forward to the drive. I like both of these coaches, and going to see what they have for goods. I think quarterback and offensive lines are going to be very definitive. The beginning of the year, if your offensive line gets off early, gets confidence, protects the quarterback, wins the line of scrimmage. Those are the things you always look at those in every game, but this game in particular, somebody's going to be able to come out and show what they've got. And we'll probably come out saying, hey, one of the teams, we're going to come out and say, look, now this team's a contender. But at the end of the day, Nick, you got to give all of these teams 3 or 4 weeks to get rolling. But with coming out early and winning this game against a division rival like that, yeah, can really elevate a team's psyche as they move on to week 2. So
yeah, absolutely important to get that first victory if you can.
It is, yeah,
and kind of
play tight.
That moving forward.
Play tight. Not a lot of penalties. Able to move the football and fly to the ball on defense. So
one thing we know, it'll be a rocking atmosphere in Portsmouth. We'll be positioned in the crowd, most likely right under those blaring speakers, which is always a good time. And we expect plenty of face paint and pomp and circumstance to go with it, as well as those Portsmouth fans really turn out year after year, and a short ride for the Dover faithful as well. So we expect a spirited audience in attendance tomorrow night.
Nick, if it's Aussie entering Sandman, a little bit of AC/DC, they have a nice track that they play over there. So Coach Pafford, I don't know if he's from my era too, so I don't know if a lot of it's that, but they have a nice soundtrack over there. But as long as it's that kind of music blaring out, I think we'll be able to call the game pretty well.
All right. We will see everybody tomorrow night. We're on the air at 6:45. It's our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week presented by Beals Insurance. Dover at Portsmouth. That's a 7 o'clock kick for our guest, the founder of the New Hampshire Football Report, Roger Brown, and my co-host, Steve Beals, our director, Ben Beals. My name is Nick Anastas, saying so long. This has been FNL Gridiron, presented by Beals Insurance.